Welcome to today's yoga class. My name is Kelsey and I'll be taking you through today's yoga flow. So starting in a comfortable seat, we're going to close down our eyes, allowing ourselves to just come into the present moment. Feeling ourselves starting to ground on the mat, releasing any tension you may have on your shoulders, allowing them to fall away from your ears, softening, coming internal and noticing your breath, passing in and out of your lungs and out your nostrils. Taking this time just to come into the present moment, finding our inner center and our inner peace. Slowly start to open our eyes. We're going to start with some side stretches, so placing our right palm down, inhale our left palm up and over for a side stretch. Placing our left palm down, bringing our right arm up and over, stretching through the side body. Exhale, coming up to center. I'm going to start to just do a little bit of wrist therapy. So bringing our palm to the front and pulling back with our fingertips on the opposite side. And then folding our palm down. So feeling that stretch through our wrist. Swapping to the other side, bringing our palm facing up, pulling our fingertips backwards with the opposite hand. And then placing our palm down, folding it underneath, pulling it back. Bringing our wrists into a circular motion, just releasing anything, shaking it away, and making our way over to our tabletop position. Placing our wrists under elbows, elbows stacked in line with our shoulders, making sure our knees are in line with our hips, pulling our belly button in towards our spine so we have a nice stable core. Inhale, we're dropping the belly, slowly looking up to the sky. Exhale, folding over, arching our spine. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, start to fold over. Inhale, we rise, feeling your spine starting to loosen. Some warmth is starting to come into the body. Repeating this a couple times. And we're just going to start to be a little bit more playful. So maybe you just want to rock your hips from side to side, finding any movement that serves you. Just want to start to warm up the body. Then we're going to sit back onto our heels, bring our knees to the long edge of the mat and slowly start to walk down into extended child's pose. Feeling our hips start to open, feeling our shoulders start to open, making sure our hands are towards the long edge of the mat, so nice and wide, softening through the shoulders. Placing our forehead onto the mat, and then we're going to start to walk over to the right side of the mat, stretching the left side of the body. Slowly coming into the center here. Then going over to the left side of the mat, stretching the right side of the body. With each exhale, just softening a little bit more. Coming back to center here, bringing ourselves all the way up to our tabletop position, tucking our toes, sending our hips up to the sky, coming into our downward facing dog. Starting to pedal out the feet, finding some movement. Again, warming up the body. Then we're going to bring our knees down to the mat and push back into our child's pose. I'm going to repeat this a couple more times now. Tucking the toes, sending hips up to the sky, coming into our downward facing dog, pedaling out the feet. Dropping the knees, pushing back into our child's pose. Coming up to our downward facing dog, pushing back, pedaling out our feet. We're going to bring our right foot up to the sky. Three-legged dog, bending it at the knee, opening up our hip. Exhale, bringing that right sole of the foot down, changing to the left side. Three-legged dog, opening up that hip. Exhale, bringing that left foot down to the mat. Slowly start to walk up to the top of the mat, finding our Uttanasana forward fold. Making sure we're having a deep bend in the knees, so we don't want any strain in our back. We want to soften through the lower back. So bend as much as you need to. We're going to inhale and bring our hands to our elbows and start to rock side to side, releasing any tension from our spine. Inhale, rise, hands above heads, rise fully. Arch a little bit back with your spine. Bring your hands to heart center. Finding the top of the mat. We're going to inhale, bring our hands up to the sky. Going to the side stretch on one side. And then holding the opposite hand and then moving over to the side. Going to inhale, rise, exhale, folding down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, placing our palms down, stepping back into our high plank. Dropping the knees, exhale, releasing our tummy to the mat. Inhale, pushing up. Exhale, pushing to downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Inhale, step, jump or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale, bringing our hands to heart center. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back into our high plank. Exhale, bringing our elbows in, lower down to halfway, then pushing up to our baby cobra. Inhale, tucking the toes, sending hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Inhale, step, jump or walk to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we rise, hands above heads. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Taking ourselves to the top of the mat again into mountain pose. We're going to use our right leg here, stepping it back into our warrior two pose, making sure our back foot is nice and parallel. Releasing the shoulders, making sure we're having a nice deep bend in that front leg. Looking over our front fingertips, feeling that warrior, that strong warrior. Inhale, flipping that left palm, and then exhale, reversing the warrior. Gonna inhale, bringing our right palm to our lower back. And then we're going to inhale our left palm up and over. So we're doing a side stretch. If this is too much, you can bring that front elbow onto the knee just for a little bit of support. We're going to inhale, turn to the front of the mat, and then come into our half moon pose, making sure we're opening up through the chest, having our back leg nice and straight, that leg that is off the floor. Then bringing that foot down, coming into our warrior again. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down, stepping back to our downward facing dog, taking a couple breaths here. Going to inhale, slowly coming up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Going to step back with our opposite foot, finding our warrior two. Finding that strength within our legs, finding that grounding. Inhale, flip that front palm. Exhale, reverse the warrior. We're going to inhale, bring that front arm behind our lower back. Inhale, our left palm up and over for a side stretch. Again, if this is too much, you can bring that front arm onto the front bent knee for a little bit of extra support. Then we're going to come into our half moon pose. It might be a little bit wobbly, and that's all good. Just try it again. That's what yoga is. Just finding your center. One side might be more balanced than the other, and that's completely okay. Then exhale, planting that foot down. Then we're just going to find our warrior, cartwheel the hands down, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Dropping the knees, and we're going to push back into our child's pose, taking some time just to reconnect with yourself. Catching your breath, reconnecting with your breath, and then making your way onto your sitting bones, bringing your legs out nice and straight, making sure your sitting bones are nice and grounded. Sitting up straight, going to bring the toes towards your chest, nice and straight. Bringing our fingertips towards our lower back, behind our lower back. Then we're going to push our chest out, bringing our shoulder blades together, tilting our chin. This is great for posture. Then we're going to inhale, bring our hands up, and then exhale, folding over, making sure we're folding and hinging from the hips and not just arching our spine. And just soften through your breath. Soften your muscles through your breath. Inhale, slowly making your way up. Then we're going to make our way down to laying on our backs. Bringing our knees into our chest, giving ourselves a big hug. Rocking from side to side. Then I invite you to take a couple of moments in Shavasana, in rest, closing down the eyes, allowing yourself to reconnect with your present moment, allowing yourself to soften, and allowing yourself to be completely still. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this yoga flow. Namaste.